What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome back to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video, and we will talk about Philippe Coutinho in this video because he is desperate to sign for Liverpool and apparently Liverpool want him on loan. Barcelona are in very deep financial troubles, they are deep in debt, so they need to raise some funds and they are willing to let Coutinho go out on loan or on a permanent transfer. Either way, they don't want to pay Coutinho's salary anymore, they want to get rid of him, they want to keep either loaning him out, or if one big club is taking him, they want him out on a permanent transfer. And also James Pearce said that he still expects Liverpool to make 1 or 2 signings this summer, so I will tell you guys all the details that you need to know in this video. So if you enjoy these, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on the bell notification so you never miss the latest Liverpool and football news on this channel. So as James Pearce reported before, in a recent Q&A he said that senior Anfield officials, yes, they are expecting a relatively quiet window. James Pearce still expects 1 or 2 deals to be done by Liverpool because the transfer window isn't even open yet, and it will be open until like October according to UEFA. But a lot can happen between now and then, and I think in August, when this season will finish, the financial landscape in football, the financial picture for Liverpool will be a lot clearer, because regarding the media and commercial revenues, you will see what kind of revenues Liverpool will be having, and also football fans, when they will be allowed back in stadiums, will be a lot clearer. And also regarding the Africa Cup of Nations, which is absolutely huge news in terms of Liverpool, because we have Naby Keita, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah potentially going away for 5-6 weeks in the middle of the season. Africa Cup of Nations organizers have said that they still want it to be played in January 2021, so in the middle of next season. But whether that's feasible remains to be seen. If the Africa Cup of Nations goes ahead, then James Pearce said, I don't see how Liverpool could lose Salah and Mane for 5 or 6 weeks and cope fine without them given more options in the forward areas. So James Pearce is basically saying that if the Africa Cup of Nations goes ahead, and I think that will be revealed before the transfer window closes, then just Liverpool have to sign more attacking options, because there is no way Liverpool can go ahead with the current squad and cope with the demands of next season and losing Mane and Salah for 5 to 6 weeks. So that increases the likelihood of Liverpool signing Philippe Coutinho considerably. And this is quite a sensible approach, and I think it is in line with the current owners FSG's policy. So if crowds, if football fans can return in some capacity in time for the start of next season, as well as a reassurance over TV money and gate receipts and other revenue streams, then Jurgen Klopp will be armed with some transfer funds to improve the squad. But also it's important to see how this season will end. If Liverpool coasts to the title and wins a majority of the 9 remaining games, and Takumi Minamino, Naby Keita, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott really shine and score a bucket load of goals for Liverpool, then Jurgen Klopp might not see a desperate need for reinforcing his squad and improving his squad. And now let's talk about Barcelona's financial situation, because apparently, according to reports coming in the ESPN, Barcelona are deep in debt. They need to raise $8 million, which is 70 million euros this summer, according to some reporting by Sam Marsden, for example. Their budget already counted on Barcelona raising $140 million in sales this year, and that was before they were hit by the pandemic and the financial difficulties. They have raised 62 million euros so far, but they need more, and Coutinho is the player they think they can sell or loan out again to balance the books. And internally, Barcelona cling to the idea that Coutinho has a market in England where they can expect to raise around 80 million euros if they sell some players to England. That's only half what Coutinho cost, and even that might be very optimistic. Barcelona thought much the same last season, and faced with a lack of credible alternatives, they ended up loaning him to Bayern Munich, and in return they got a fee of 8.5 million euros and someone else to pay his salary, which is at the moment 13.5 million euros a year after tax. So I think Barcelona can expect something like this to happen again, that they will loan him out and they expect his salary to be paid by another club, and maybe they can get a generous loan fee on top of that. But Coutinho is willing to take a massive wage cut in order to allow his move to Liverpool to go ahead, which means that Liverpool might have to only pay around 8 or 7-8 million loan fee, and also 7-8-9 million in wages. So combined, Liverpool will be able to get Coutinho for around 15 to 20 million pounds, something in that range, for 1 year loan. Do you think that Liverpool should take that? Do you think that Liverpool would be a better team just to get Coutinho for 1 year on like 50 million pounds in terms of the loan fee plus the wages? I think that's a pretty sensible offer, pretty sensible deal for Liverpool to make, especially if the Africa Cup of Nations goes ahead. We need more options up front and in midfield if the Africa Cup of Nations happens. Coutinho's agent Joe Rabchan said this: "It's purely Bayern's decision not to extend his loan and not to make the transfer permanent, and Bayern's decision is to let Coutinho return to Spain to Barcelona, and Barcelona will decide what they will do with him. We haven't really discussed anything for now," Coutinho's agent said. And also the agent said Coutinho would like to return to the Premier League one day. And with every new day, it seems like there is a new club linked to Coutinho. Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal and Leicester were the clubs linked after Liverpool as well. It's an easy story to write, but built on a reality too, a willingness to engage with any potential way out. Basically, the agent is saying that any Premier League club who wants Coutinho, they can take him because he's interested. And it's a pretty sad affair to see Coutinho in this state, that he's just desperate for a club to pick him up, because like not that many clubs want him. And yes, it is an accepted truth that Coutinho was pretty much a disaster at Barcelona, but because of Barcelona's tactics, because of the coach, Coutinho is not a box-to-box player who can defend and who can attack. He's an attacking midfielder who can play on the wing, who can play as an attacking midfielder, but he's not defensive-minded, very tactically astute player. But his first 6 months was pretty successful. He scored 10 goals in 22 matches, including a league and a cup double, and he scored even a goal in the Copa del Rey final. His second season began with the opening goal in the Clásico that Coutinho scored at. But it's true that he was an uneasy fit and things slid away from him fast. The weight of the transfer fee and the expectations accelerating his fall maybe, or at least the impressions of it. He scored a solitary goal, 1 goal in his last 20 league games, and he felt out of place. And sporting director Robert Fernandez said this: "I always thought that Coutinho was the ideal replacement for Iniesta, but I think that was just too much expectation on Coutinho's shoulders maybe, and also he wasn't utilized in that same role. He was expected to be more defensive than Coutinho would like, and Coutinho is thriving on a free role. He thrived on a free role at Liverpool for so many years, and in the Barcelona team, he was restricted tactically. He couldn't do as much as he would have liked, and he's not that kind of player. And even Luis Suarez, who was his former teammate at Liverpool, warned Coutinho that you have to be strong and ready for criticism and pressure at a place where players are exposed and fans whistle you if you don't play well. Fans whistled Coutinho, but Coutinho responded in a way showing how it hurt him. And when he scored against Man United in the Champions League, Coutinho celebrated by putting a finger to his ear, saying to the fans that now you should whistle me. And the smallest thing you do, the smallest little thing like Philip did the other day, which was tiny, brings repercussions, and everything is made bigger than it really is at Barcelona. That's what Suarez said. The player hears it when he loses a ball, and there's this whistling. He hears that buzzing, the murmur is there. and that affects him, and he thinks, oh, the fans, if I lose another ball, they will whistle me. And Bayern offered him a way out, and he played much better at Bayern Munich, but still he wasn't a very important player at Bayern Munich. The side wasn't built around him, and he just couldn't get back to the former heights that he hit at Liverpool. And if Barcelona think he could be an 80 million euro footballer, they also know he probably isn't anymore. If they want to sell him, they also know that a loan would at least give them breathing room and might be the only solution at the moment. But even a loan is no guarantee, not without them shouldering some of his wages. There might be no winners in this transfer saga. And Coutinho is a little bit trapped by his price and his salary as well. That's why Coutinho is willing to take a massive wage cut in order to move to Liverpool, because otherwise Liverpool are not taking him. We are not paying 13.5 million euros for Coutinho just for him to play for 1 year at Liverpool. It's pretty strange because Coutinho should be in his prime in terms of his football career. He's 27 years old, but it's like everybody has given up on him. And if Barcelona represent a relationship for Coutinho which is broken beyond the repair, with everyone throwing in the towel after just 18 months wearing a shirt that weighed heavy on Coutinho, and that others have been given twice as long time to adapt to new surroundings, but Coutinho wasn't given twice as long. Coutinho was given very little time. He had a very good 6 months, and then next season didn't go well, and then Barcelona have given up on him. They just loaned him out to Bayern Munich. Now they want to sell him or loan him out to the Premier League. And it's a little bit unfair on Coutinho, because now the coach is different at Barcelona. It's Quique Setien, the former Real Betis coach, and he's a very good and very different coach to the previous one. So Coutinho should be given more time. He should be given a season at Barcelona to prove himself. But Barcelona have already given up on him. They want him out of the club. And it's incredible. This should have been the biggest strategic signing in Barcelona's history, because never before they paid 142 million pounds for one player, and now they are just giving up on him. And I just don't understand, honestly. And here we are in this situation, locked in this lingering sense that everyone is waiting for some club somewhere to come and rescue Coutinho from Barcelona. I don't think this is the only solution. I think everyone lacks the imagination to resist being drawn into this spiral, and instead of lift their heads and look beyond a depressed marketplace and a depressed player, beyond the scenario where an exit is the only strategy. I would love to see Coutinho at Liverpool, but I think if I was Coutinho, I would expect Barcelona to just give me one more season, just to show and just to figure out whether Barcelona really can't find a place for Coutinho, or it was just the manager. Because I'm pretty convinced that Coutinho is still an extremely talented player who can score goals, get assists, and beat players with skill, with trickery, and he should have been the perfect signing for Barcelona, but they couldn't find a good place in the tactics, in the squad for him, in the team. But this coach should figure it out, and if he can't, after one season, okay, we hold our hands up, Coutinho should move elsewhere. But it's like Coutinho wasn't even given a proper chance with a proper manager who plays attacking football. Quique Setien is an attacking coach, so Coutinho should be given at least one season at Barcelona. But if it's Barcelona's loss and Liverpool's gain if Barcelona decides to move him on, which I think they already decided, and it's up to the financial situation to clear up, and then Liverpool can go in and get Coutinho on a one-year loan deal, I think. And according to Guillem Balaguer, a Spanish football expert working for Sky Sports as well, he says that we know the new Newcastle United, when their takeover is completed, which everyone expects it to be, will enter a new era, and Coutinho is waiting for that to happen. If Liverpool doesn't come in for him in the end, then he wants to go to Newcastle. His representatives believe Newcastle will make an attempt to get Coutinho, because he's the kind of player they can have. As I have said before, they should go for players who are finishing their contracts, like Edinson Cavani. The biggest offer Coutinho's representatives are doing is towards the Premier League, and the idea is for him to go to the Premier League. There has been talk of Arsenal, but nothing has arrived from them. The favourites, if you have to choose one from the Premier League, are Newcastle if the takeover bid comes in and if they make an offer for him and some kind that Barcelona is happy with, because Barcelona want to get rid of Coutinho, that's for certain. And at this point everything is possible, including him staying, but that seems pretty unlikely. So those are the words of Guillaume Payet, who knows pretty much a lot of things about football transfers and Spain as well. And Jose Enrique, the former Liverpool left back who is now retired, said a very interesting things about a footballer's life post-retirement. This is what he said. When people think about footballers, they think of Barcelona, Liverpool, Juventus players, but there are players in League 1, League 2, they are footballers too, even though they don't live the life of a Liverpool player lives. I'm talking about players from the big leagues. I lived in a bubble, Jose Enrique said. You do what you love, you get paid well, you receive so much attention, everyone treats you so good wherever you go, and then all of a sudden you retire and it stops. Now my partner tells me, yo Jose, go and clean the shit off your car, and I go and clean it. I used to do it anyway, but as a footballer you have your cleaners, it's a completely different life. When it all stops, the bubble just bursts. I talked to Jorge Lopez, a former Valencia player, 2 days ago. He told me the same thing. You are still young when you retire, so you say, well, what do I do now? That's why I tell all the players, prepare yourself for a post-football life. I didn't. Someone told me recently if I was a former footballer, I would just live the holiday life. Listen, after the first month, you are already bored of it. Already give it a year, no problem, but after that, I'm still 34 years old. When I retired, I was 31, 32. What do I want? Do I want to be on holiday for the rest of my life? No, I don't. You want to be something as a human being. You want to work, you want to do something that makes you feel proud of yourself. I feel proud being a football agent. Humans need to work. You can't be on holidays all the time. It's very important to have a plan what you will do after your retirement, before you actually retire. Those are very wise words by Jose Enrique, and I think that's an interesting topic to talk about. And not many footballers plan for life after retirement, and also not many footballers stock away enough money to last them the full length after retirement. So I think that more footballers should be given more advice around this topic. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.